come back to your tools. All right, Paul, I love Kiss. Who doesn't love Kiss? 80 million albums later. Young guy, though. Big loser, true?
Totally. Big loser, chubby, unpopular little kid. And I think if you listen to everybody's story here, the common thread is that we were dreamers, visionaries, people who didn't fit in. I was certainly in the gifted classes, but at the bottom of the class, and nobody could figure out why I didn't do the work. Obviously, there was a learning disability, but society doesn't nurture the visionary or the dreamer.
Paul, do you remember a specific moment, a specific teacher, a specific friend? I saw that picture of you, little chubby guy with the little cross tie there, like, all right, it ain't gonna ever happen for this guy?
Well, by the time I was in high school, someone articulated it very well. A teacher said to me, why aren't you doing the work? Why aren't you excelling and putting your mind to this? And I said, you don't understand, I'm going to be a rock star. And this teacher looked at me with pity and a little bit of disdain and said, don't you realize everybody wants to be a rock star? And I looked at him and said, but I will.
Okay, Paul, I want to stay with you because you have 5 very specific things for what people can do when they're being told they're not going to make it, they're not going to go to the next level. And the first thing is do a brutal assessment of yourself.
You have to do a brutal assessment of yourself because otherwise you're deluding yourself and it's like playing Russian roulette. Sit down and do an inventory. Find your strengths and weaknesses and then pursue something that you're good at. If I had decided to become a rocket scientist, I would be washing windows right now. So you have to find something that is possible. Then you have to stick to your guns. There's no shortage of finding people who will tell you what's impossible. Invariably, it's the people who failed. Misery loves company, so you have to keep away from that, and you have to aim higher. People who work 9 to 5, many of them are miserable because they're not doing what they enjoy. I figured if they're going to be miserable, I'm going to be the one to entertain them and make them happy. So you need to find something like that. Naivete. There's nothing wrong with naivete. A little bit of it will keep you from seeing the obstacles in your path. Obstacles are what you see when you lose sight of your goals. And remember, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you're willing to work hard for something, you'll judge how much something means to you by how hard you're willing to work.
So let's do a brutal assessment of yourself, stick to your guns, aim higher, have a certain amount of naivete, and nothing's impossible. Dave, how do those ring true to you? And give me your formula for saying, I'm going to make it. I don't care what the world says.
Well, Paul is so right. You have to do a brutal assessment because there were things in my life that I had to change. And once I was able, with honesty, look into the mirror and say, Dave, you got to change this about yourself. First of all, I had to get sober. Once I got sober, and then I had to realize that I needed to learn. So I started reading books. And then I went back to what my passion was, and I loved barbecue. And once I kept that passion front and center, it didn't matter what anybody else said, whether I was going to succeed. What mattered most was I knew where I was going in life.
Aaron, along the way, once again, you're dyslexic, you're stupid, you're not going to make it. What were the tools you had? They kept throwing obstacles even as you overcome that first obstacle.
Well, as Paul said, we do share a common thread here. But, you know, for me, being brutally honest with yourself is a great place to start. It's one thing if somebody's, you know, honest with you, or we ask people to be honest, but the hardest thing that we do is to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we, as individuals, become our greatest obstacles. And my parents helped me a great deal. And believe it or not, they kept little cliches throughout the house, little Post-it notes. When I woke up in the morning, on the bathroom mirror, on the rear view mirror of the car, stick-to-itiveness. And my mother, every day of my life, you have to have stick-to-itiveness, Aaron. Press on, one of my favorite slogans, constantly in front of me. And what happened, and it's very true for all of us, see it, say it, think it, believe it, do it.
Say that again.
See it, say it, think it, believe it, do it.
I love that. Teresa, what do you have to say? You're on the phone.
Hey there, Donnie. I have really big dreams about how successful my company can be, but every time I turn around, someone's telling me, oh, it's just a dream, it's just a dream. How can I continue to move forward when all these people are telling me, well, it's just not going to happen?
Well, first of all, who are these people? And we're going to stop listening to them. And what's the dream? Tell me the dream, because it's going to happen.
I want want to put my company in big stores. I want my company in Bloomingdale's and Sephora. But people keep telling me, oh, you need to start low. You should start small. But that's just not me. And usually it's family members.
Dave, obviously people were telling you no all along. $400 million later, what do we say to Teresa?
Man, you can't listen to those people at all. The most important thing is, where are you going? How much do you believe in your product? And if you've had other people try your product and they love your product, that's your key to success. It's not what the naysayers think, it's what you believe.
Teresa, here's two tools for that. Number one, when people tell you no, use that as motivation. Of course they're going to tell you no. They tell every visionary no. You're the yes person. Smile. Have a little clue. As soon as they say no, do this, and that's going to give you more and more incentive. Glenn, how many people told you no along the way?
My whole life, everyone's told me no, but I think what you have to do also is surround yourself with mentors, people that you look up to, that are people that are the people that are going to really help you and teach you things like telling the truth, okay? Just real simple little things like that. Having the integrity and to know, hey, I'm going to back out of a deal and my word is my word. I mean, that's so important, I think, nowadays. You get into deals and people just, the ones that don't keep their word are the ones you don't want to be around anyway.
Paul, at a very young age, when you said you wanted to be a rock star, your teachers all said you were an idiot, you're crazy. Everybody, what was the response? How'd you deal with that?
Well, look, there's never going to be a shortage of people who tell you what you can't do. Misery loves company, and there's nothing more fearful to some people than watching somebody else succeed. It's wonderful to have mentors, but you really have to dig deep inside yourself and find that faith inside yourself, whether it's going to a religious house or just something you find inside yourself. I believe that we have to be our own best friend. It's a simple cliche, but if you're not in your own corner, who else is going to be there?
Kendall in Virginia.
Hey, Donnie. I started a company, and I want people to look past the fact that I'm a suburban mom. How can I get people to automatically view me as a businesswoman?
Okay, first of all, don't ever look past the fact of who you are. That's who you are. You're going to, though, turn that to your benefit. What kind of business are you talking about?
I create unique gifts for all special occasions.
Okay, guess what? A suburban mom, that is the perfect credential for that. Those are the challengers that are telling you no. You know what we say to challengers? Get out of the way. We don't listen to challengers. Get out of town. Once again, though, that is that's your core. That's who you are. And the very reason they're telling you you're not going to be successful is the reason you are going to be successful. Glenn, do you remember any specific challenges along the way?
Oh, gosh, I mean, just recently, I'm in the financial business, and we have had, look what we're going through in the mortgage industry. We were down and out, and when you take an opportunity, when you're at your worst, when you've got your back against the wall, that's an opportunity to shine. That's an opportunity to show who you really are and what you're made of. And I think whenever we do have potential devastating times in front of us, we can really make something of ourselves and lead by example.
Okay, we got a lot more to do. Don't go anywhere.
Next.
Speaking of gushingly optimistic, Paul, when they told you you're never going to be a rock star, and once again, that's a 1 in a million, how do you stay optimistic with that?
Well, you have to ultimately dig deep and have faith in yourself. I think what keeps going from person to person when you go through your panel is ultimately you have to believe in yourself, and that's what motivates you. Without that, it's hollow.
Jack, back to you. The last three. Remember who's boss. Conform. How do you mean by conform?
Well, every time I try to take this out and sell it, I can't get past the old self-talk of how silly this is, and I back out. How do I get past it?
Do you feel it's silly?
No, I think it's wonderful.
Well, I don't know. Who's telling you it's silly?
Well, the people that I have talked to about it think that it's not going to be able to sell into those arenas.
All right, Paul.
I'm a big believer that obstacles are what you see when you lose sight of your goals. You don't take no for an answer. You show up at the company, you show up at the hospital, you circumvent all these people who are trying to stop you. There's no stopping when you want to succeed.
Amen. We got a lot more to do. Don't go anywhere. You guys are launching KISS, obviously. No's from promoters, no's from different people. How'd you guys flip that around?
Sheer determination. Again, you have to have your goals and you keep going for them. A few years ago, I decided to, in a sense, reinvent myself. I was listening to one of the questions earlier, and I decided to pursue something else that I love doing, the passion I have for painting. So In the last year, I think I probably topped $2 million in sales of paintings. That's based more on me finding something that's a passion, something that I love, and therefore someone else is going to identify with it.
All right,
I think passion is key to everything.
Passion's the magic word here on The Big Idea. Every night, more big ideas straight ahead.